Wow.
That zero
That
lasted
song.
a long time.
That did last a long time, didn't
Did you
it?
notice
Felt
that
that
zero
way.
lasted a long time? Like, I think that's a faulty zero there, you know?
I think it could be a faulty zero. It did actually last for a long time.
That was like a that was like a
Something from
4-second zero, you know?
That was a good long
That's a
4
good
seconds.
band name. Dimitri, that's
Something
their
from
band
4
name.
second zero.
4
yeah.
second zero. That was their band name.
That's what we need. We need Dimitri to
First
name all of
song
our
is Something
bands.
from nothing.
I love it. Welcome to Canadian AF right here, Canadian as fuck on Revolution Radio Canada. My name's Craig G. We are back for another one of these. Stole my man Derek's first line of his show that you can catch Friday nights right here on Revolution Radio Canada, and it's called All Uncovered. We'll do all the formalities later. Of course, our man Dimitri Alexiou is just a wealth of everything. So we love him.
Dimitripedia.
Tonight we have Tikka and Tamar, our new friends here at HopefulPhoeniX. Welcome to the virtual Revolution Radio studios. Thank you so much for being here, you two. We greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
it's
thanks for having
exciting.
us.
Awesome.
It's our very first
awesome.
podcast.
Yeah.
Is it really?
It is,
It
as a
is.
band, yeah.
Oh, okay. We promise we'll be gentle.
Thank you.
Dimitri, please save me. Dimitri, please, the acknowledgement. Thank you.
Canadian as fuck would like to begin by acknowledging the indigenous peoples of all the lands that we are on today. While we meet tonight on a virtual platform, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands we call home. And we do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations, to improving our own understanding of local indigenous peoples and cultures, and to try to move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration.
Greatly appreciate it, my friend. As always, you're awesome. And we appreciate it when you do that. So we have got just a couple of wonderful people here tonight joining us. And as I say, this is their first podcast, which we're super stoked about. We're super stoked to have you. Again, so thank you so much for being here. And we've got a lot to talk about, so we're going to get right to it if you don't mind, okay?
Yeah.
Excellent. So if you don't mind, let's start with you, Tikka. If you could just sort of introduce yourself and kind of how you ended up getting into music.
That's a great question. I've been an entertainer all my life, so I started actually professional clowning in high school, and
Wow.
yeah, and it was a hard thing to shake. Actually, my clown became a very inherent part of me, and when I would try to do other things, teachers or people would say they saw my clown. So I kind of tried to fight it, but I embraced it, and I worked in children's television through the 90s. I was lucky enough to be on a couple of shows.
Can I ask a question about your clown?
Yeah.
So is this like improv type of clown?
No, this was like deeply intense European clowning. So we started off, my first character was named Gimple the clown, and he was mute, and he wore a big red nose. So we all wore black with red noses. It was like very classical training. So I didn't talk, but I interacted with people. And it kind of grew from there, and I began speaking, and eventually I was doing private parties and corporate gigs, and so I was singing with family audiences. So up until about 10 years ago, I'd sung for thousands of people, predominantly under the age of 10. So singing for adults was a new thing for me, and it was very exciting, and it's something I've really embraced.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you started into clown?
I was 16. I
Okay.
became a vegetarian clown. It was a big year for me, 16. I was never quite the same. And I actually converted my whole family. They all became vegetarian, and they all became clowns. So there's nothing like being a teenage girl, unable to get into the bathroom to do your makeup because your dad's in there doing his face. And I lived that. So.
That is wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you fall into music?
You know, songwriting was always something therapeutic for me. I've never had a lot of luck with therapists, so I use songwriting as just an avenue to get my thoughts out. And I did a lot of singing with kids, and I always thought it would be neat to kind of put some of my darker stuff to music. And it was actually, unfortunately, it was Chris Cornell's death that actually got me talking with a guitarist and saying, you know, I'd happily do any Soundgarden covers because like Chris Cornell is my man. And that kind of spawned it. So we started taking a look at some of the poetry I'd written and working on songs for adults. So my first adult gig was actually at Cherry Cola's. It was a punk night, so we sped everything up kind of double time. And it was a blast, but it was intimidating. The people that went on after us, the guy was wearing like a huge gas mask on his face and he had a mic attached to it. I was very far from Sharon, Lois Bram and the other things that I'd been accustomed to.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. I haven't looked back. And hooking up with Tamar has been amazing because we both had tons of songs in our repertoire, and now we've worked together. We've improved upon everything, and it's really cool. We're very happy.
Tamar, how about your musical journey? When and how did it start?
I started, singing very young. My father played guitar, probably about 3 chords. And that was enough to inspire me to want to play. So I started learning really seriously when I was about 14. And then I started writing songs when I was about 14 and a half, I guess. I wrote my first song, and I've been writing ever since. I've been playing all across Toronto. I was in Kensington Market doing open stage, like hosting my own open stage shows. I was in Thornhill doing my own open stage shows.
Where?
It was a place called the Urban Cafe.
Oh. Okay. All right. I can't picture it.
Yeah, it was on Bayview, right across Bayview and Highway 7. Just after it turns off. Yeah. It's gone now. It's a whole different building. Like, things change so quickly.
They do up there, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I remember there was a place, an audiophile place called Audio Excellence that was at Bayview and Highway 7, and it was awesome. It was like it was this beautiful house.
Oh, you know what? I kind of guess where
it was this
where
gorgeous
Urban Cafe
house.
Was, yeah.
And it's like it was this amazing place where you would walk in and like a pair of speakers was like $80,000. Honestly, and they were so nice, and they would say, "Oh, yeah, you're a kid, you're never going to be able to afford this stuff, but you want to hear what they sound like." And I'm like, "Yes, I do actually." And I remember sitting down at Audio Excellence and listening to a Jill Barber record. It was summertime, and they played Summertime, and you could actually hear like when she took a breath through her nose. Like to sing the next line. It was just, it was literally like she was standing in the room with you singing. It was unbelievable. Anyway, Audio Excellence, shout out, they're wicked. I think they're actually still around. I think they're now at Young and Stouffville Side Road, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry about that, Tamar.
I was at Stouffville Side Road yesterday. That's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then and ever since then, I had got my own little kind of like 4-track recorder. And was actually on a cassette player. You remember cassettes?
Oh my God, you're so old.
Right?
I'm trying to hide the beer in my. I'm trying to hide the gray in my beard.
I could run and get a cassette to show people now if you want to talk about cassette.
Yeah. But probably even some of the cassettes that I'm talking about right this very minute. But so I went to Harris Institute. Where I
did?
Yeah, so I took recording arts management, and I also took some apprenticeship in live sound production and a little bit of production, in studio production. So we've been working. I've developed my own little home studio where we're doing our recordings here together. And it's just kind of evolved, from learning a couple of chords and learning my little cassette to here at HopefulPhoeniX Studio and working with Tikka.
How did the two of you
meet?
How did the two of you meet and essentially become musical partners?
Just through different social circles, through different music things. We were involved in other projects. And I kind of mentioned that I had a bunch of songs that hadn't really been fleshed out yet. And Tamar was in a similar circumstance. Me too. And we just kind of came together and started sharing. And for me, it was amazing because I started writing new stuff. Up until now, again, my writing was very therapeutic. I've been in a deep state of depression for about 15 years. So my stuff was it's pretty monotonous looking over it now. So this has been nice, stepping outside of my comfort zone, trying to write things with a hint of optimism, with a hint of hope. You know, when you're swallowed by despair, it's so hard to see through it. So trying to do that has been, I'd be lying if I said but you know, there are definite benefits, but just the writing is so much better. It's challenged me so much more. So that's nice.
The easiest thing in the world to write about is love, but even easier to write about is love lost or despair. Those are two of the easiest things in the world to write about, right? Because you get, I think it probably for a songwriter, I know Derek's a songwriter as well too. It probably gets you into a place where you're just, you know, it's words probably fall out of you, I would think, when you're in a depressed state.
Yeah. I have to turn the songwriting off. Basically, if I carried a journal around with me, I would just continually, not that the songs would be good, but they would just continually be flowing out of me.
There's nothing wrong with that.
We'll get to the good ones.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nice to have a direction to work towards.
Nice.
Can I ask a question? Sorry, Dimitri, you go ahead.
Well, is one of you more wordy and one of you more notey?
I like the kind of little dwarfs kind of sounding, wordy and notey. Yes, I'm kind of dorky and quirky, but that's a good question.
I think, you know, I would say that I'm more of a storyteller in the way my lyrics play out. Not that there's not stories being told, but I think that Tikka's style is more rhythmic. You know, if we could say she's a little more jazzier and I'm a little more folk rockier kind of thing, and we kind of blend the genres together and come up with something a little unique. And
you never know what you're going to get with HopefulPhoeniX.
That's awesome. Derek, sorry, go ahead, buddy.
Tikka, my question is explain the Sharon, Lois, and Bram thing.
You don't recognize me? Seriously, no.
Skimming
because Sharon, Lois, and Bram are like my freaking heroes.
Oh, me too. Seriously. So like in the 80s, when some of us were growing up, the elephant was asexual and mute, and it was just named Elephant. In the 90s, they brought out 2 new characters. So they shot a new series called Skinnamarink TV, and they brought in a 7-year-old precocious pachyderm named Ella Acapella. That was me. So I am the voice, I am the body. I was in the 60-pound fucking mascot costume. It was a fully operational puppet. So like I was blinking eyes. I put my hand in the trunk. I could pick things up with it. I was essentially blind. There was a monitor inside, but the monitor was on the massive head.
Shit,
so
man.
It was dizzying. So yeah. So going in for the first read with Sharon, they weren't there with the auditions, but once I was cast, we went in for the first read, and it blew my mind because I listened to Smorgasbord every day before
that was
grade 2 and 3.
In grade school, Smorgasbord was huge.
It was amazing. It's still with me. They were actually a big influence of mine with songwriting. So working with them was incredible. So we shot 2 years of the show out of CBC, and then we did like a North American tour for maybe like the next 5 years. So it was amazing. It was amazing.
How old were you when this was going on?
I was 4. I was very young. No, I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on tour with Sharon, Lois, and Bram, that's pretty kick-ass.
They're pretty rowdy. They're rowdy. They're party.
Tikka doesn't want to sell.
We heard a lot of stories.
She doesn't want to. She's like, literally, my friend, you're literally doing this. You're like, so they.
Elephant never forgets, right? So
that's right.
With me, but they were amazing to work with, and the band was great. So we had a lot of fun. We actually went out to Nova Scotia and Newfoundland on my 25th birthday.
Awesome.
So that was amazing. We rented a car. We drove up to Cape Spear. So I had amazing experiences with them. And it really gave me awareness as a vocalist for the first time. because up until then, I was a clown. I was a kid's entertainer. I didn't really have a lot of confidence in my voice, but being in studio with Sharon's husband, Joe, was an amazing songwriter. And just having him and his encouragement and his recognition, it really gave me confidence. And having that experience, being in a booth, being in a professional studio, it was very transformative for me, for sure.
That's amazing. I have a flyer from Skinamarink TV that I had signed.
Really?
Yeah, I have it signed by all three. And I would do fucking backflips if I could get your little nom de plume on that one.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, I would be super stoked for that.
But we need you to promise to do backflips.
I will literally do backflips.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a direct line to CC Copycat also. He's still a dear friend of mine as well. So
Really?
I can hook you up with some CC too, yeah.
I've
got like a dozen plushies in my basement. We used to sell swag at the end of the concerts. So I very vainly have probably at least 5
Oh my God.
Ella dolls. They're plushies. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was fun. Yeah.
Holy cripes.
I like the interview, Craig.
So we last week we were talking to our good friend Johnny Dovercourt
Yeah.
about venues and the state of live music in Ontario. And are there some venue, like you have a gig coming up, right, at a particular venue, right?
Free Times Cafe, yeah.
We do. It is the Free Times Cafe, yeah.
I'm so glad the Free Times is still around too,
I was
because that's
gonna say,
actually been
they still
around for a
exist?
long
Been around
time. Yeah,
for a
still
long
around.
time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's great.
And they're a good DIY venue, do it yourself
Absolutely.
venue,
Yep.
So
Yeah.
so that's in downtown Toronto, and earlier, even before we went on air, we've been talking a lot about the 905. And what do you think about the state of music in the 905 and like venues, like where people can come perform and draw an audience?
I've gone to a lot of jams, like Steffi Goodfield and Matt Bergman run jams throughout the 905 area, and they're great at just encouraging people and getting people involved and getting people out there. So I performed with like previous bands at a couple of bars in York region, so that was a lot of fun. I think it's as burgeoning as anywhere, right? We're all trying to get back from the pandemic. It's still really messed up out there. But yeah, we're hoping to get our music into as many venues as we can. That's the exciting thing now about being on streaming services and having audiences like yours. Like there are people around the world who can now hear our music, which is really, really mind-blowing if you really think about it. So,
So another Canadian band did this, and they did it a few years ago. So Walk Off the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And like Gianni just said flat out, and he's like, why in the hell am I dragging all my gear to a venue that maybe 10 people are going to show up at? And maybe I'll get paid, maybe I don't.
Well, I think
So go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, even just before you were saying that, like, it's like they don't want to support the original bands. It's like if you're playing cover music, right, then you're okay, right? They want to sell their beers. They want to do. I understand they have to sell what they have to sell. So we're looking for owners of places that actually want to support original music that's coming out of Ontario or Canada or locally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're really looking for.
It was a thing that like that happened in like the 60s and 70s as well. As they like, we don't want original music. We want what we hear on the radio. We want to hear repetition of the same stuff, right? Yeah. Because that's what's going to draw the people in, because they don't want to walk by a venue and hear something that they don't know, right?
Well, in the 60s, the Yorkville scene was legendary for supporting original acts, right? Not so, but that's 60s, and that only.
But it was very cyclical in Yorkville. That was like it was feeding off of itself. There wasn't a lot of a lot of majorly like outside independent people. It was mainly the people that were like living and staying in that area that were like formulating this whole thing going on.
Well, Queen Street West, I think, is still, for me, holds so much nostalgia because you could basically start at like the Black Bull and then go to the Bamboo and then keep going across, and then you'd hit the 360, then you'd hit the Rivoli, then you'd hit the Horseshoe, then you'd hit the Cameron House, then you'd hit the Velvet Underground, then you'd hit the Bovine, and it was just like it was one after another after another after another after another. And I think those are the types of venues that we really, I think, Tikka and Tamar, we need to start getting back to, because I think, just like Tamar was saying, it's we need those venues to support local music. I mean, something like History is wonderful. History is a great venue. It's a beautiful venue. Love it. Live Nation, Drake, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. The sound is fantastic, and there's not a bad line of sight in that venue. But for people that aren't selling that amount of tickets, we need to kind of take what we have in History and divide it by like 5, by 4, that kind of thing. And I think like great sound systems, professional sound technicians, good bars, comfort. Some of my favorite places back in the day, we were talking about this with Johnny Dovercourt. One of my favorite bars back in the day was a place that was at Peter Street and Richmond. It was called Fez Boutique.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Do you remember Fez Boutique?
Yes, I spent New Year's there, and like
my wife literally was just sitting over there. My wife Jen, she's like, love Fez Boutique.
It was awesome.
It was such a cool, sweet, intimate venue. I saw Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction and Porno for Pyros DJ a rock and roll sort of alternative set at Fez Boutique, and it was amazing.
I was not there that night.
No, unfortunately, it was. Fez was so much fun. It was such a cool bar. So.
Yeah.
Listen, I wanted to ask the two of you. I want to get back to your music. So, how do the two of you go about putting together a song? Like, what is essentially the process? Do the two of you kind of sort of come with your own separate ideas and then do the whole Simon and Garfunkel thing and kind of put stuff together, or is it like you just kind of work on an idea? Like, how essentially does a Hopeful Phoenix track get created?
That's a good question. I'd say there are essentially 3 kinds of Hopeful Phoenix tracks. There are songs that I had written maybe a while ago that I bring forward that is pretty much just vocals, and we flush it out with Tamar's instrumentals. There are songs that Tamar's been doing for years that we bring out and I add harmonies to, and maybe we change up the bridge. And then there are other songs that we just come together. I might write a verse, I bring it to Tamar, she writes another verse, we come together for the bridge. It's been a really uniquely cool collaborative effort, because we're bringing the best of what we've done and then we're making it better, which is so fucking cool. That's really neat. It's a very unique situation. I've been in a couple of bands. I've been doing originals. I've been doing covers. This is really, I'd say, the first collaborative effort that I've been in. And it's really cool. I think that it's challenging us both to be better, which is amazing. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So so basically,
hold on.
Oh.
Sorry.
Is Craig even talking?
I was muted. I'm so sorry.
He was anyway.
It's okay, Dimitri. You go ahead, buddy. My question's a good one, but it's an easy
I just
one.
saw him mouth
Go ahead,
going
friend.
too.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. I was doing the.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So basically, you write and you also do the art direction in your videos, and you self-produce, and it's all very in-house with Hopeful Phoenix. It's an entire Hopeful Phoenix production from top to bottom. So how important is it for you to maintain 100% control of the process, or are you willing to let other people into into the process to see where it can evolve to.
Please help.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting.
Please help.
That's a great question to me.
We're
I can
doing our
help.
best.
Both Derek and I have studios. My drums are actually right behind me, and Derek's got like 85 guitars at his house.
Oh my
so-
God.
For
Yeah.
a certain song, we just can't work it out.
It's like this ready for the EP, but it's not where it needs
This
to be.
is survival mode. You know,
Yeah.
we're trying to get grants. You know, we're trying to work with other musicians. Yeah, it's
Honestly, send us the stems. We'll help you out.
We'll help you
We'd love to.
oh,
Love to.
It's on camera now. We're holding
Yeah,
you
we've
to
got-
it.
Done.
We've
Done. No problem.
Craig,
No
Craig
problem.
is a
Thank
very
you.
Craig is a very good drummer. Yeah.
He is a very good drummer. I'm also a professional
Amazing.
photographer and
That's
videographer as well. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Derek actually.
Welcome to Hopeful Phoenix, Craig.
Right. And Derek, I'd love. I want to play in a band with Derek again. Actually, like, big time. Like, bad.
And I noodle on the accordion. Yeah.
If we need accordion, Dimitri.
Right.
Hey.
Nice possible.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
So I always love doing this. Derek and I and Dimitri always find it fascinating with singer-songwriters, musicians, all of that good stuff. I want to start with, this time I'll start with Tamar. I'd love to know what are some of your earliest musical influences. What are who essentially made you tick now?
My major influences come from the classic rock era. So
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
Rolling Stones, The Who, even some of the folky guys like Bob Dylan. Bad with remembering names, but yeah. Classic
Yeah, no, that's all
even,
good.
Black Sabbath, even. And all of these bands like AC/DC, all of these bands I mentioned, I've seen live as well. I've seen so many live concerts.
Yeah. We've all
Did you
seen a
see
lot of
Black
concerts
Sabbath
too,
with Ozzy?
I did.
I saw him with Dio and
Nice.
the Deep Purple guy.
Ian Gillan.
Ian Gillan.
Ian Gillan, yes.
Yeah.
Does anybody
So you saw-
And I saw Dio solo as well too.
Nice.
Does anybody remember the time there was a small span of time where the metal god filled in because Dio left, and fucking Rob Halford filled in.
Rob Halford?
Rob Halford filled in with Black Sabbath 100%.
No.
How amazing did that sound?
Wow.
I don't.
Yeah,
my
I'll bet it
God.
sounded great. Bet it sounded amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
totally.
I
So
know
Tikka, I know that one of your influences, obviously, you talked about Chris Cornell. I
Yeah.
love Chris Cornell, and one of these days I'll tell you all about the time I met him. It was insane. Yeah,
As I
it
melted
was-
to the couch.
I melted too. He's so good looking. Anyway,
So dreamy. Oh my
yeah,
God.
honestly, awesome.
On every level. Yeah.
Tikka, your influences.
Yeah, I put some thought into this, listening to your other episodes, and I'm keeping it Canadian as fuck. So
like
early,
nice.
I'd say lyrically, I've got to give it to Neil Young. And then more
Nice.
like songwriting wise, really Feist is
Oh.
Goddess.
Yeah.
Sam Roberts is
I fucking love Sam Roberts.
Incredible.
Love him. Love
Yeah.
him.
Chaos. I've hung out with a couple of times. Amazing. Like
Okay.
they're all so diverse, and they all have such integrity, and their voices are so clear in everything they write, and I love that. Yeah,
Great stuff
There's
so
Melvin
far.
Furtado kind of floating up there, like their aspects.
Yeah.
It's the world is the oyster, but I'd say those ones are the most deeply influential.
It's so funny that you just mentioned Chaos because I was literally 2 days ago trying to find his manager.
Really?
I have no idea who's his manager, and I really want to get him on the program. It could possibly be. The last I saw, he was with Dynalone Records for a while.
Oh, he went to Dynalone?
Yeah, he was on Dynalone for a while. Yeah, I think. Anyway, I don't think he's there unfortunately anymore. But yeah, we really want to get Chaos on the program.
You said
Amazing.
T said something, and I think that it needs to be acknowledged. There is something to be said for Canadian singers and fucking articulation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
can very clear, very concise, very like attenuated vocals, and I love that.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll always back in the 80s, Parachute Club, the way that Lorraine
Lorraine Segato.
Lorraine
Fuck
Segato
yes.
would say power.
Yes.
Yes.
We got power.
And we are trying to rise up. That's what Hopeful Phoenix is. We are all fucking rising
The
up.
Canadian.
Fucking awesome.
Nobody said power like that.
Power. Fucking love
Only a
it.
Canadian could do that.
We got to get Segato on the show. That's for sure. We have to
Oh
get
my
Lorraine.
God.
Definitely. Yeah.
Craig wants everybody on the show.
Of course, I want everybody. Who wouldn't want everybody on the show, right?
They're Canadian as fuck.
A Canadian smorgasbord of Canadian music.
That's
Fucking
it.
right.
You like
Yeah,
I
man.
brought that back. We brought it right around.
Well,
We
listen.
have questions of our own, so
Yeah, exactly. So listen, my friends, it's been great having you tonight. I really do want to talk about your gig at the Free Time. So if we can, let's start talking about that. What are people going to expect, and what's the date, times, all of that good stuff.
So Friday, December the 8th, we're at the Free Times Cafe. It's our official EP launch. So it's going to have newly mastered, improved versions, even better than what you're hearing now on Spotify and YouTube and other listening devices. And it's going to be a night of fun. There's going to be latkes on the menu. There's going to be lots of stuff going on. We've got an amazing violinist. We've got Brian Morgan joining us. We've got Denny Uboko on percussion. It's gonna be full of fun and surprises.
So we're also going to be releasing another song, hopefully two. It depends if the mastering comes up, but will be another song will be released.
The mastering's tomorrow, right? Like it's all tomorrow. So.
And then we're going to be releasing our first ever video together, which we shot up north in Bob Cajun on location at Chasing Northern Nights.
Yeah.
So, and then we're making a commitment from that day forward to approximately once a month to start dropping content. So new videos, new music, perhaps some spoken word stuff, but like this is our launch and we're putting it out there.
So yeah, check out our website, join our mailing list. We're going to send things out regularly. We're thinking the 18th of every month. And we're just working hard now, generating content, editing videos, shooting in the freezing cold. We're building a laneway house in my backyard, and we were out there. There was very picturesque before they sprayed the foundation. There was brick. So we were out there shooting at like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Freezing cold, but we're doing that. We're doing that for the art. So we
Nice.
We just have so much to share. That's really it.
If you need help with photo and video, just get a hold of me. That's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're all our witnesses, Canadian listeners. We've got a drummer. We've got help with technical stuff.
Right.
What are you going to do for us, Derek?
Yeah.
So, and do we get tickets to the Free Times gig through the website?
In fact, we've got 2 tickets that you may do with as you like. I don't know if you want to award them to specific winners. I don't know if there's any trivia you have in mind or how you do things. But we've got 2 tickets up for grabs to join. And they are going quickly. We've got about 10 spots left. So
Excellent.
Seriously, fantastic. That's great.
That's really great.
yeah, it's very exciting.
That's great. Good for the two of you. Well, listen,
Thanks.
we really sincerely appreciate the two of you being here tonight. This has been awesome. So we'd love to have the two of you back, and we're really seriously still going to try to get to the gig. We really are. Things are so tough for me with my job in December and all that stuff. But anyway, we're seriously going to try to get down to the show.
Great
So
to see you.
Free Times Cafe.
December 8th.
December 8th. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I'm just
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
at it.
And again, check out our website because we're going to be popping up everywhere.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Tikka
it's been
Tamar,
great
thank
to
you
be
so
here.
much for being here with us tonight. And we're going to spin a tune from the two of you. Did you want to? Can you do me a favor and just give a quick intro to this song that we're going to play?
So this song is a true story, and I saw the Northern Lights a long time on our boat, and I ended up having a dream with the lyrics, and and that was 30 years ago. So I've been writing it for 30 years. I went back to write a bridge twice, and I ended up with another chorus, and then I don't know. So it ended up with the instrumental bridge, and now I've got Tikka's vocals on it, and it's super amazing at this point.
And we had so much fun shooting the video in the sunshine. If you look on our different social media things, you can see teasers of the video. So
awesome. Yeah. Bob Cajun is such a beautiful, such a wonderful
little bald lake.
I so wish I was in a kayak now.
Me too.
Instead of looking out at the snowflakes coming down. Oh,
yeah, I know. Oh, I hate winter's a stupid season. Anyway, sorry.
It's too long in Canada.
Don't get me started.
It's winter's too long in Canada. That's all I have to say.
Build a snowman.
Flannel and plaid to have this negativity.
We're working on it.
We're proud Canadians. No matter how cold it gets, we love Canada.
Yeah.
If you dress appropriately, you can go out and do all these things.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
I've had my eyelashes freeze at the mill pond while watching the bare naked ladies. So
there, Derek.
We get it.
Nice. That's
I don't
awesome.
have eyelashes.
The band is Hopeful Phoenix. The tune is Chasing the Northern Lights. Tikka, Tamar, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our new besties right here on Revolution Radio Canada, Canadian as fuck. Enjoy this one, folks. Thanks so much to the two of you. We appreciate it.
Follow the path by the light of the moon. It brought us to this paradise. That's where we found the northern
Thank you so much, Hopeful Phoenix.
Thank you.
You guys
Thanks
are
for
awesome.
hanging out.
Thanks so much. Yeah, we greatly
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. It was great.
Was a
Anytime, my
pleasure.
friends.
Great.
Anytime. Hope your first podcast was good.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Excellent.
Amazing. Only hurt for a second. It's good.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Tikka, you couldn't have signed off any better if you tried. It was like a full-on mic drop right there. Awesome. Okay, thank you so much to the two of you.
Good night.
Have a great night.
Good night.
Take care.